Owning a ranch means peace, quiet, and privacy, or at least it should. That's why I moved out here years ago. Wide open fields, cattle grazing, and the sound of crickets at night. It was everything I'd worked for. The last thing I expected was to find the HOA president, Karen, throwing a full-on party right in the middle of my property. It started on a Saturday morning. I saddled up to check the back pasture when I heard music blaring, bass thumping so loud it scared the cattle. At first, I thought maybe one of my neighbors was celebrating. But as I rode closer, my jaw nearly hit the dirt. There, under a cluster of oak trees on my land, was a crowd of 50 people with lawn chairs, coolers, and a giant speaker system. Cars were parked along my fence line, some even on my grass. In the middle of it all was Karen, sipping wine and laughing like she owned the place. I rode right up. "What the hell are you people doing on my ranch?" Karen gave me that smug little smirk she always wore. "Relax. The HOA needed a place for our summer gathering, and your land is the perfect spot. You never used this pasture anyway." I tightened my grip on the reins. "This is private property. You're trespassing." She waved her hand like I was a mosquito. "Don't be dramatic. We're improving community spirit. Besides, the county roads make it accessible, so technically it's fair use." That was it. I pulled out my phone and started recording. "So you admit you organized this event on land you don't own?" Karen rolled her eyes. "Call who you want. Nobody's going to stop us. You should be grateful. We're putting your property to good use." Oh, Karen. Famous last words. I called the sheriff, and within 20 minutes, 2 deputies rolled up. But here's the kicker. Karen actually called 911 on me first. She claimed I was threatening the HOA and intimidating her guests. The deputies walked over, and Karen immediately turned on the waterworks. "Officer, thank goodness you're here." He stormed over here with a horse and started yelling at us. He scared the children. I almost laughed. "You're trespassing on my land, Karen. I have it all on video." The deputy asked to see my deed. No problem. I had copies in the house and the original filed at the county. Meanwhile, Karen was busy trying to spin her story, insisting that the HOA had a right to public access. When the deputy finally pulled up the property map, his eyebrows shot up. "Ma'am, this entire pasture, actually this entire ranch, belongs to him. The HOA has no authority here." Karen stammered. But the community." "Ma'am." The deputy cut her off. "Pack it up, now, before I start writing citations." The look on Karen's face as she had to order her little wine-drunk army off my land was priceless. Cars spun out in the dirt, chairs toppled over, and the whole party ended in chaos. My cattle watched the stampede of HOA members retreat with about as much amusement as I did. But I wasn't done. See, recording trespassers isn't just for proof, it's leverage. A few days later, I handed the footage to my lawyer. Trespassing, property damage, illegal alcohol distribution. Yep, they had coolers full of booze and noise ordinance violations. Within weeks, Karen and the HOA were slapped with fines so big they could have paid for a small wedding. Word spread fast around the neighborhood. Parents who once thought Karen's parties were fun weren't so pleased to learn she risked criminal charges for dragging their kids onto private land. Her popularity tanked. Now my ranch is quiet again. No music, no trespassers, no Karen. Sometimes, when I'm out in that pasture, I find bottle caps or crushed cups they left behind, and I smile. They're reminders that Karen once thought she could own my land with a clipboard and a smirk, until the law proved otherwise. And the best part? Every time Karen drives by, she has to see the brand new trespassers will be prosecuted signs I put up on every fence post. Big. Last year, I had to spend 6 months overseas for work. Before leaving, I made sure everything was secured, fences repaired, and cattle tended to. I had a ranch hand checking in weekly. Everything was in order. But when I returned, I didn't recognize my own land. Where my fields once stretched, there were rows of cookie-cutter houses, sidewalks, streetlights, driveways, and bright banners that read, "Welcome to Oak Ridge Estates, Phase 2. 138 brand new homes." built directly on my property. I nearly ran my truck off the road. I stormed straight to the HOA clubhouse, where Karen, the president, was sipping iced tea like a queen on her throne. "You've got 10 seconds to explain why there are houses on my land," I growled. Karen smiled sweetly. "Oh, don't be so dramatic. The developer decided to expand, and your ranch land was perfect. Don't worry, you'll be compensated once the sales finalize." My blood boiled. "You built on MY property without consent. That's trespass, fraud, and theft." Karen laughed. "You weren't using it. Now families will enjoy it. You should be thanking us." I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I just walked out because I knew something she didn't. See, the developer who originally built their subdivision? I'd gone to school with the CEO, and while the HOA thought they were cozy with him, they forgot one important detail. Their contracts only covered the lots already sold. They had zero rights to expand without purchasing new land. And they hadn't purchased mine, which meant every one of those 138 houses was sitting illegally on my ranch. I called the CEO. "Hey, you might want to check your records," I told him, "because your company just built phase 2 on land I still own." There was silence on the other end of the line, followed by a panicked, "What?" I sent him the deed, the surveys, and the aerial photos. Within hours, his legal team descended on the HOA like a pack of wolves. Turns out, the HOA board had forged documents claiming they had development rights. The contractor never verified ownership, they just built. That single mistake triggered one of the biggest lawsuits in county history. The HOA was sued for fraud. The developer sued them for damages. Homebuyers sued them for selling illegal lots. And me? I sued for land theft. In the end, the HOA was completely bankrupted. Karen and her board were personally liable for millions. Their homes were seized, their assets drained, and their reputations destroyed. As for the 138 new houses, the county condemned them. Some were bulldozed, others sat empty, rotting shells of a failed scam. My ranch hand and I tore down the cheap sidewalks and fences, and I reclaimed my land. Today, when I drive past that part of my ranch, it's peaceful again, just wide, open fields. A few remnants of driveways poke through the grass like scars, reminders of what Karen and her HOA tried to steal. They thought they could take my land while I was away. Instead, they lost everything, while I gained one of the most ironclad property rights cases in county history. My ranch stood long before their HOA, and it'll still be here long after they're gone.